Good evening and welcome to TobagoConnect. Today is a very special day. Very special because I have a very special person in the studio with me. Sitting with me is Rhona Eastman Jack. And boy, I tell you, we have so many stories to tell you today about the invention, the Be Dazzled fashion ruler. And I mean, just saying Be Dazzled alone should tell you that we're in for a treat this evening as we discuss this invention and the achievements of this wonderful Tobagonian and what she has been able to do now. That's something that's going to take over the world. And so, Rhona, I want to welcome you to TobagoConnect and really tell you that we're excited about you on the program today and what we're going to discuss. You know, welcome to TobagoConnect.
Well, thank you to the world watching today, and thank you to Mr. John Arnold for being here today to speak on this topic. That's my baby.
Yeah, and I like that. So tell me, let's go back, because, I mean, when you hear about Rhona being an inventor, she now has a patent, she has trademark. Let's take it back. What in your development, I mean, your upbringing, where did you see this coming, this idea of working along the fashion line and creating something like this? Did this ever, I mean, give us a journey.
All right, what I would say is that my mother, she wasn't a seamstress, but she was a very creative person.
Right.
So she did handbags, she did sewing clothes. So I was alongside of her. So I always was interested in sewing. At 10 years old, I won special prize for needlework at primary school.
Okay.
So I had loved sewing. And I remember telling her that I wanted to be a seamstress like Sheila Wallace, who is my first cousin, who taught at Scarborough RC. And she said, well, you have to go to high school and then go to John D. So you have to, but I was dyslexic. So I had challenge studying.
Right.
So she said, well, you have to try. So she sent me, I remember she sent me by Miss L.D. Thompson when I failed 2 chances in common entrance.
Right.
So Miss Thompson used to teach at Pallivet School, but she had to retire. So she sent me by Miss Thompson to get some schooling. I was so happy by Miss Thompson, but every night I cried. Because no matter what she teach me, half of it by next morning I forget it.
Okay.
Because I was dyslexic. But I eventually scraped through and went to Harmon's.
Okay. So you did secondary school in Harmon?
I did 3 years in Harmon's. 3 years and about 2 months.
Okay. All right. But why you say 3 years?
While I was going to Harmon's, something happened to my feet.
Okay.
That took me to Port of Spain Hospital. And I spent 3 months in Port of Spain Hospital. Almost lost my feet. For operation and a skin graft.
Wow. So you've had some major challenges.
Yes.
Yes, and you've been able to overcome all those challenges and bring us to this kind of day that we now have Rhona Eastman Jack being one of the first inventors. As a matter of fact, when you start talking about inventions, did you do some research like to find out how many inventors from Tobago we've had, how many inventions we've had, and where you are in the scheme of things on the planet?
I asked intellectual property, and they said they will have to research it.
Right.
But they have not gotten anybody from Tobago who has entered the Hall of Fame.
Right.
They have not gotten anybody from Tobago that ever filed a PCT. And now I'm also the first person from Tobago. Now the Madrid Protocol is here.
Right.
So I'm the first
Yeah,
person.
we're going to talk about that. Don't spill that bean. That is a very important point. And I mean, I know that's great news. But, you know, our viewers, they have to wait on that one. So we come into that. But staying with you with the challenges, I'm really interested in how you overcame, because I know there's a big spiritual part to your life.
Yes.
All right? Tell us about your spiritual journey and the impact that had on you.
All right.
In growing up.
All right.
Yeah.
Can I just deviate a
Yes,
little bit?
of course.
when after I finished, I was, I told I got sick. When I came back, I was supposed to enter school this September, back into school, the school system. There was a class called the Selly Fashion School in Mylan Trace, near to Tobago Services.
Okay.
And my sister said, you always loved
That's
sewing.
years ago.
Because I used to sew, at home and sew in my school uniform, even though I did not go to sewing classes yet. So she said, you'll go to sewing class this period, and eventually September you'll go back to school. So I decided, yes, I'm going. So I went to the sewing class. But strange enough, while I was in the hospital, I met somebody just before I went to the hospital. I went to school at 14. And when I came out of the hospital, I got pregnant.
Right.
So there was no more school for me.
Ah, okay.
So that time I made up my mind. Seamstress, I have to be. Have to be. So, and then my sister.
So you were sewing since you were 10 or 14?
From since about 12 or 14.
12,
I started needlework. I know
right,
I was
earlier.
Yes.
Right.
But just actually sew clothes, I started about 14 years old. Start sewing clothes, look at things.
So even back then, you, apart from being creative and sewing, did you like make up things? Did you like create anything, at that phase of your life you could recall?
Yes. My brother and I cut off his pants foot, the crimpling pants foot, and the pants foot used to be extremely wide.
Yes.
So we took two of his pants, we cut off the crimpling pants,
Right.
and we used the one piece for the front and one piece for the back, and me and he made a skirt. I think we were about 8 years old. I was about 8 and he was about 9.
Right. So this the creativity thing was in you from early. From early. I mean, those signs were there. But so let's go to when the church and spirituality, start to have an impact on you, or you started to say, you know what, I want this part to have influence me. Tell me about that, Jen. I know God means a lot to you.
Yes, God means a lot to me. And when I was like 49 years old, I was having my own personal challenges in my own personal life. And I saw myself being the wife, the mother, but I wanted something for me. I spoke about that on Channel 5 7 years ago. I wanted something for me, and I was praying about it. And then the Woman's Woman program came into being. So then I was praying for this, and then the Woman's Woman program came in. And I remember going to, I wouldn't share how God has directed my step. Just before I went into the Woman's Woman program, God said to me, the Holy Spirit said to me, something is going to happen in your life. And when that time comes, dress nice, look nice, take care of yourself, take care of your health. There's another part, leave that out.
Right.
And I went to the program and I shared the testimony in the program. Yeah. And about a month after, my teacher, entrepreneurship teacher in the program, said, anybody has an invention or know anybody who have an invention, I put up my hand.
Okay.
And when I put up my hand, they said, what you have?
Yeah.
So I told them what I have, and Miss Darlene Smart decided to tell them, do not tell anybody. It's a secret.
It's a secret.
Right? So I entered the Prime Minister. They tell me make a sample.
Right.
So I made the prototype. I took it to class. It was literally pure board. No write-up, no calculator, no nothing.
Just board.
Just board with some hinges. And even one of the hinges would turn wrong. Right. But the class gave me the thumbs up.
Right.
So then I enter the Prime Minister's Invention Competition.
Okay.
So when I enter the Prime Minister's Invention Competition, the competition had 3 stages. I entered it, I was in the program, I'm happy because they're paying you $3,000 to learn, and I'm always at home. So I was excited because I wanted to learn how to teach. Yes. Because they had different programs. They have literacy program, they have computer program. I didn't know how to use the computer. They had sewing class, and I heard Patsy McKay, was teaching the sewing. The big I'm designer, so I was excited.
That's a big icon for Tobago fashion. Yeah.
So I said I want to learn her style of teaching because I wanted to teach it. So I said I go in the class. I remember they didn't pay me in her class. I was devastated. And the guy who was teaching the class, the sewing class, was my cousin. And he said, Rhona, what you doing here? You don't need to be here. And every day telling me the same thing. You hear me? He don't know why I come about. He don't understand. And I remember Delmon Baker, mother, because Delmon Baker is the one who think the show. She said she was brushing her teeth. And in the mirror, the Holy Spirit started speaking to her. And the Holy Spirit said to tell me that he have plans for my life. But all he need me to do is humble myself to receive it.
Wow, good.
That woman came and tell me that story and tears was in her eyes. She didn't know me very well. She didn't know how to come and tell me. But we travel in the same transport daily. So we just know each other about a month. So she was afraid to tell me, but she did tell me. And I said, okay, well, I humble myself. But that time, me, I know what coming out of this thing. I didn't know anything would have come to fruition. So afterwards, I was in the program in February. I'm looking through my emails. No response. I entered it in December. So I'm looking through my emails and I'm flipping. First time I get email in my life. I never had an email. So I'm flipping through and I'm looking. Nothing. So I remember this Thursday afternoon, I was lying on my bed. And I hear a voice tell me, take down that envelope. So I took it down. And all I was doing was bawling. Whatever I saw in the envelope, I would not say.
Right.
I just bawl. And while I'm crying, I'm hearing a voice saying, come home and mind your business. My daughter,
not only drink water, but you know,
come home and mind your business. So my daughter came home. I told my sister-in-law, my daughter came home. I told her about it and she was devastated. She said, Mommy, you get to come out the house. You're happy. Every day I see you come home, you're happy. Why you gonna leave the program? They're paying you $3,000 to learn. And when you come home in the evening, you could still sew. Yes. Why you gonna leave the program? I said, this is what God is saying. I got to leave. So I made her write a letter. She put it on a flash drive. Went to town, carried to CCC to get it printed. They say they cannot print on a flash drive, from a flash drive. I was devastated. So now, on Friday evening, I stand up in front of the whole class and tell them, I got to leave. And they want to know, why am I leaving? I said, when God talked to you, you got to obey. I got to leave. I cried. Some people shed some tears.
So this was like after the first session of the entire 3-stage program?
No, I just entered.
Oh, you
but
just
I'm just
entered.
waiting for the response for the second stage.
Oh, right.
So then there's no response. I'm not seeing anything coming up on my email. So I left the program the Friday and the Monday morning, I'm back in the sewing room. I had to make money. So I took down this envelope. I packed in the shelf. So I took down this envelope. And in the envelope was the flyer for the Prime Minister's invention competition. Gotcha. And I'm watching the flyer and I hear the Holy Spirit saying, call them. So I talking to myself, my daughter's room is right there. And she said, Mommy, who are you talking to? I said, myself. And I said, call them. Is them supposed to email me? And after the second time, the paper fall to the ground. I took it up and I sit down on the chair and I dial. When I dial, Melanie Mitchell from Trinidad, she was working at Nehus at the time. She said, if you were successful, they would have emailed you. Yes. I said, but you all never did. She said, Miss, if you were successful, they would have emailed you. I said, I gave you all 2 email addresses, but you all never did. She said, Miss, if you were successful, they would have emailed you a long time ago.
So you had to go back into the emails.
So I said, but you all never did. She said, Miss, let me go and check for you. When she go and check, she said, do you know that you were successful?
Of course.
I said, no. She said, do you know you have 1 week to prepare? I said, no. Everybody has had almost a whole month before me. But there was nothing in none of my emails.
Wow.
So I had 1 week to prepare. I had also do a video.
That was a God moment too.
That was a God moment.
That was a God moment.
I have to do a write-up. At the same time, I was doing a competition through I2I. I2I was coming the Friday. This is Monday. I2I coming Friday. I had to prepare for I2I. Now I have to go and prepare for the Prime
Minister's
invention. Monday when I reached to Trinidad, as soon as I reached in the office and they heard my name, they started saying, "I'm sorry, we are sorry. You must have went to your junk mail or something."
May have done that.
And I said, "But I gave you all 2 email address." They said they don't know, and they were and they were very apologetic. Long story short, I won special prize in the Prime Minister's Invention competition. I reached the second and then the third stage. I was the first person in the whole competition to file a patent in Trinidad.
Right. Man, congratulations on that. I mean, that's a good time for us to... Let me segue. So I'll just read this because I think this is so important. The Be Dazzled Fashion Multi-Purpose Sewing Ruler. That's the actual name for this. This is one of a kind. It's unique, efficient, convenient, and portable. Perfect for students and anyone in the garment construction industry. It features different rulers with a collapsible structure for functionality and portability. In garment construction, the main rulers are L-square, hip curve, and French curve. These rulers, though effective, are large and bulky, making them inconvenient for travel and for storage. This multi-purpose sewing ruler combines the L-square, hip curve, French curve, and calculator all in one, which provides the same function. If handled with care, this ruler will be a great investment for anyone. You know what I want you to do? Because I think this is so important for our viewers, right? If you can show this off, right, I hope we can hold it here, and so our viewers can actually see it. And put it to the camera and go ahead, describe this to us.
All right. This is the L square. From here to here is the L square. This is the hip, you see,
right
side. But there are 2 hip curves. There are a narrower hip and a wider hip. One is on the inside and one is on the outside. And this is the armhole curve. And this is a calculator. On the front of the ruler is metric. On the back of the ruler is, and the front of it is metric and the back is imperial.
Right.
This one is done this way because of the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean. But the ones that are done for Europe are all metric.
Okay.
Right?
So as the inventor of this right now, let me just have you. So as the inventor, it comes in a package here, right?
Yes.
It comes in a case.
A case.
Who designed the case for this? I mean, how all of this happened?
All right. I licensed to a company in Denmark. This ruler is a licensed to a company in Denmark.
Right.
His name is Mr. Shuv Gardner and Associates. And when I invented the ruler, because it's collapsible and portable, you have to have something to carry it in.
Right. So the case is
I did not want no petty case.
Right.
I remember one supplier wanted to give me a pull string bag. I said, no, my ruler is too nice and too expensive and to best quality I want it to be, that I don't want a pull string bag.
Gotcha.
I want a case. So I decided I'm going to look for the case.
It's on this side?
Yes, it's a molding case. So it's molded to suit the ruler.
So just put it, let me just see how that goes in. This is so exciting. I love how that collapses.
So you fold it, it goes in like that, and I put Velcro straps so that it cannot, and there's a space that you can put pencils or anything. Here is where you can put your book, your measurement book, or even paper, like you have a sheet of paper, you can put it in there and...
Yeah, and you have a case with a handle.
Yes, you zip up your ruler case.
It's like my keyboard.
It's an Eva molding case.
A keyboard case, and it's protected.
It's protected.
Yep. So let me ask you, Rhona, right now, if I want to buy one of these, what do I do?
You can buy it from factory store in Trinidad. There's this guy who came today. His name is Jerry. He has a place in Scarborough. He fixed sewing machine. He bought some from me today
Okay.
to sell. Parker is selling it.
Okay.
Abrahams is selling it.
Okay.
I am selling it, and Mr. Factory.
So in Trinidad, it's
supposed to sell
available
it in
factories.
but
Okay.
he's supposed to be selling to other stores.
So
too.
what about up the islands? Do we have any distribution up the island?
Mr. Factory has the right to distribute in the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean. Ah, good.
So
good.
he's supposed to do. He's supposed
And what
to
about
sell.
Denmark? The people there, are they? Or
They,
that's
he
just
has
on
the rights
IP?
to sell for the whole of Europe.
The whole of Europe.
The whole of Europe.
Right.
Yes. the
Oh
whole-
my goodness. I'm going to come to China in a bit. What I want us to talk a bit is about these awards. Because this one, friends, is this one. I mean, this one I think we have to take note, right? This one talks about the Inventors Hall of Fame inductee, March 2022. Tell me about this.
Well, because that I hit a lot of firsts in Trinidad and Tobago, and now I am, well, based on my patent, right? If you read it, you will see
Yeah,
Mark.
you're the inventor
Miss
of
Ro-
the You
Dazzle
Dazzle
fashion
fashion
ruler.
ruler.
To date. She have been registered in 3 different types of IP rights,
Intellectual
both
property rights.
locally and internationally,
Internationally.
in order to protect her
Intellectual
intellectual
creations.
creations.
So I'm glad
Trademark,
about that. That-
I have a trademark, which is You Dazzle. Industrial design
Yes.
in the collapsible multipurpose sewing ruler.
Correct.
A utility certificate of the multipurpose ruler. And also, I have a design patent in the United States of America.
Wow, that's so much to, I mean, that is so much to consume here. So we have a trademark, right? We also have industrial design. I want you all to understand we're dealing here with somebody who has really paved a big way here. We also have utility certificate.
Yes.
Because this is a multi-purpose sewing ruler that features a collapsible and detachable structure. Right?
People don't know that I also file patent on the detachable. So the detachable is not here yet. The detachable will have connectors. So
right.
if, for instance, when we do make it, you can connect them together. So for instance, like the L square, the hinge, they will have a connection.
Right,
So you will
right.
connect it. So if you want to do a
Right.
L, if you want to separate the hip curve,
Right, from the
you'll be
hip
able to-
curve,
But we
right.
have not done that as yet. But
Yeah.
it's also protected.
But you protect it all
As-
one time. One
Yes.
stop shop. And of course, the Intellectual Property Office with Regan and all of them there, they've really helped you a lot with this.
Yes.
Those are really, really hardworking persons there. The Inventors Hall of Fame. So I noticed that you had several other awards. This one is a beautiful pan award, and you got this through.
Intellectual property also gave that to me,
Oh, good.
right?
Good.
Because pan is our thing.
Yeah.
So they gave that
Yes.
to me and they
Right.
gave me the plaque.
Right.
So now I am on the wall. When you go to intellectual
Yeah.
property,
You are on the wall
I'm
because
on
you're
the
you're an
wall.
inductee.
so
Of course.
every time I go to intellectual property now, I stand right aside
And
and
you
take a
see-
picture, put it on the Facebook.
Yeah.
So when you go there, Mr. John, don't forget to take a picture
Yeah,
by my
I would certainly
photo.
do that. And then this one is one that she has from Kariri. All right. So tell us about this.
All right.
For
I
Kariri to give you.
entered the IS program after I won special prize in the Prime Minister's Invention Competition. Kariri decided to help inventors to license their product in Denmark. Kariri, through the program, the IS program, they was looking like for companies that you license your product to. I became the first person from the program to license my product in Denmark.
Wow.
So they decided to celebrate my launch because I had a spiritual launch, with my church and giving God the praise and the
Yes,
honor and the
yes,
glory. So
yes.
Kariri decided they're gonna also have a launch in Trinidad, marking this milestone, and they had it on International Women's Day. I think you can't get it better
No,
than
you
that.
can't. You can't.
You can't get it better than that. So we
Can't get it.
did that launch there, and
Right.
they gave me that.
Well, that's, and then of course we have one here. You know, I want everybody to know how important you are in this Tobago space and place. And this was given to you by your church. I think it's important. Tell us about this.
Well, I am the women's ministry leader in my church, but I don't think they give me that for that, you know.
Right.
I was giving all these testimony in church, just like the one that I said.
Okay.
So God was giving me these testimonies. So I was just giving these testimonies. And part of the journey, I was sharing God's testimony, because every step of the way that I went, I was having challenges. But I remember what I would say, that when I was going to the Prime Minister's Invention Award, I remember something happened and my husband couldn't make it, and I was feeling so broken. So I went in the gallery and I raised my hand to God, and I just closed my eye and I said, God, help me. And I heard, I am a jealous God, and I start this journey with you, and I'm going to finish it, and no man shall take the credit for what I've done in your life. So
Right.
I was sharing all these testimony with
I
the
love
church
that.
along the journey. When I got patent, I went to the church, I talk about it. When, you know, like the personal stuff, like issues that I have with intellectual property or whatever, some of them I didn't say. But I remember I gave them the testimony about how I became the first person from Trinidad and Tobago to file a PCT under Chile. And that was God's direction. Even though it may sound like intellectual property did me something, I know that it was God's direction. So if you want, I could tell you about that. But because of that, when I decided to have the Thanksgiving service about, and giving God the praise, I remember they saying they don't understand what I'm talking about, because then Mr. Reagan had sent a video, elaborating on all that I have done and what the milestone I have made for Trinidad and Tobago. And then is when they understand what I was saying. So I remember being in Trinidad, signing rulers, autographing rulers at a factory. And I got a call from the first elder from our church saying that, Miss Jack, we didn't understand.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't understand. We didn't understand. So when he said that, I think I was a little prejudiced, and I said, do you understand? And I heard the Holy Spirit said, but your brothers did not understand. How do you expect them to understand? And I turned to my daughter and my friend, and I explained to them, and I said, I explained to them what God is saying. I said, so here what? They said they're going to have a celebration for me. And it was the most amazing celebration. When I tell you amazing, it was alive. It was happy. It was good. I danced on the stage. Literally, when Terry Baines was singing, Terry Baines, secretary for community development, he was there singing this song. I just danced. It was the most invigorating moment of my life, because I understand God's purpose and understanding that God people got it.
Yeah. No, I think you have, you have so many messages. You have so many testimonies. You have so many stories. I love stories, by the way. I have loads of stories. And what I like is that they dedicated this to the steadfastness in terms of you inventing Be Dazzled. I think it's so important that we talk, and that of yours, this thing about intellectual property, it's so critical, about the patents that refer to our inventions, about the trademarks, about those special names, similar to Nike and Coke and Pepsi. And here we have Be Dazzled. And this is the lady, Be Dazzled, right? Yeah, this becomes the brand that's trademarked. And then, the whole concept of copyright for people like myself or in music, we don't mess with that, because we want to make sure people like us in the creative spaces, the people who take a lot of things that we do for granted, but intellectual property is so critical, right? We pay everybody. We have got to understand these things call for effort. But I'm a little now. Let's talk about what happened today, right? you don't have to go into too much detail, but I think it's so important to celebrate with you, Rhona. This little nudge we got into China. Tell me a little bit about it.
All right. For years, intellectual property wanted to bring the Madrid Protocol here. The Madrid Protocol, what people wouldn't understand is that you file one trademark.
Yes.
So I file Be Dazzled, and I could file it into multiple countries under one application.
That's right.
Eliminate the lawyers, eliminate translation. So when you file, like I pay, I share with people, I pay almost $21,000 to file in Russia,
right?
File in China,
right?
File in the EU,
yes,
file in England, file in Canada, and file in America, right? I think I got all.
Yeah.
Right? If I had also filed it single-handedly,
I know it will cost much
about
more.
$100,000.
Yeah, it will cost more.
Right? So I was waiting on the Madrid to come here. We talk about it every meeting. Oh gosh, we can't wait for them. So the Madrid came.
Right.
And I became the second person from Trinidad and Tobago and the first person from Tobago
That is good. That
to
is
sign
good.
on to the Madrid Protocol.
Yeah.
So
I remember when they launched it, Regan Asgarali and the team. I remember when they launched that. That was a big deal.
I was online.
Yeah.
And they talk about me on the.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes,
I was in the program too.
Yes.
And they did talk about you on that. Yes.
So I filed it, and the EU came back and said, looking great. Because when you file it, they have to do the extensive search in the country.
Of course.
Before they can give you the right.
Yes, yeah.
So even though you file
you have
it,
to make sure nobody else has that.
Nobody has it.
Yeah.
So the EU sent back and said they didn't see no problem. They see Dazzle, but not you Dazzle.
Yeah.
And the way in which my thing look is authentic.
Yeah.
So, not tooting my horn.
No. I got
is the last day of my publication for the EUU. So by tomorrow, I'm going to know if it's smooth sailing. And I got the whole of the EUU.
Well, I tell you this, Rhona.
So that's tomorrow.
You know, my partner Josh, my associate in the studio, you can see the excitement on his face, right? Because, you know, really and truly, this is what is great about Tobago. We have so many persons that are doing things, and we take almost everybody for granted in this town, as you know. But really and truly,
you know about China, right?
No, what I'm saying is that really there are a number of persons, when you move outside, you realize how appreciative others are of what you do and what you... And what I'm seeing here is, I love how you frame this into your spirituality. The fact that you were being directed, and I love how you made the God factor the center, you know, God getting jealous and all that. That's cool. But I love how you centered that, because that is such a nice base for all the success that's happening to you. I think this is just amazing. And I mean, from here, Rhona, let me hear what the future holds if all of this thing happens.
John, but I had to tell you about China.
China go ahead.
So Monday, I got an email from China.
Right.
I watched the email. I said, I opened it because I know what it was. So I say, I can't take on no rejection. Because Russia has rejected. Russia have a, I'm going to leave Russia alone.
Yeah.
Because they say they have something similar, whatever. Yeah. So I didn't fight for Russia, right? So I know the EU sounds good.
Right.
But China is so vast.
Yeah.
And so many products are being made in China.
Yes.
So many, you know, brands are in China.
Yes.
China is a hub for brands. So I was on my feet yesterday, Monday, saying, I ain't watching that. Yesterday, I took my tablet to the health center and I said, I gotta look it over. I didn't. So this morning, I get up about 3 o'clock, like, I didn't sleep good with it on my mind. I said, when I go and watch that email, it's either sink or float. You know, when I opened it, I saw the acceptance in China.
Again.
Listen to me. 4/28, I wrote Mr. the head of intellectual property, Mr. Regan, Kavish, and the man in Denmark.
yeah.
And I sent a thank you note to
Yes,
them
yes.
for seeing me through this. And it was just invigorating. My friend came over and we was on a forged Zoom thing, and we was just excited. Such a night I'm going out to celebrate with my friend. Because it's really the first person from Tobago to file on to the Madrid.
Right.
And then now to see that my product, my brand is accepted in China. I don't think people understand what I'm saying.
No. I think today they got it.
I don't think they may feel I'm overreacting or something.
No, Trinidad and Tobago,
but trust me,
right up the islands, they got it today.
It's so... It's like you seeing a brand come here where we don't understand. When a brand reaching Trinidad and Tobago, the iPhone, it came to Trinidad first. You understand? What they don't understand, when you try to sell to massive stores abroad, or you send to Target, your brand cannot go into those big, stores without.
It has to be protected.
It has to be protected.
Yeah. And I mean, what you are doing is going through the steps methodically, and you're going through the process really, really well. I can't tell you how I really admire how you took your steps. And you told me that ruler some years ago, and I'm really amazed.
16 years I invented this ruler, and I hid it to the job for 9 long years.
Yeah.
So 7
That's
years
a lesson
on the
too.
ground.
Don't hold it back. Those people having songs. I saw a guy on America Got Talent, and when he was finished doing this song on racism, Lionel Richie was almost in tears. He was like, the guy sat on the piano and he did this song. He said, no, I just write songs and I just keep them. And they said, no. You are going to be on the show tomorrow, because what you just did, the world must know. The world has, and there are people, he said, no, I just write, I just keep them there. He said, no, Lionel said, you can't do that. So that's good advice you're actually giving there. There are a whole heap of inventors, creators who don't have the motivation. They do it and they leave it there. But we've got to find a way to tell them, just like you, find the path.
Yep.
Go on the path.
I watched the other day, there was this guy, he's an artist. He was on the streets. He eventually got in the jogs and he was on the street. And some guy passed on this side to talk to him because he keeps seeing him drawing. And he took him up, he cleaned him up, he found an apartment for him. Oprah just bought a painting from him.
Yeah.
He is so good.
Yeah. I saw that.
He is so good.
I saw that.
And
The whole life changed.
Your life
Yeah.
changed. And when you watch, look at this girl, I forget her name, who sell her product to L'Oreal. She had rosacea. And she couldn't understand, the makeup lines that they have wasn't covering it up.
Right.
And when she was a reporter, and while reporting, she used to hear it in an earpiece.
Right.
Your face, something on your face.
Yeah.
And
But there's
on
nothing
her
on her face.
honeymoon, she and her husband write their business plan. And she fight for that for so long. She came back, she quit her job, her husband quit the job, and the both of them fight to bring that product to market. And on the last leg of it, I think they had only $1,000. She was on QBC. And she took off her makeup and showed up, and they told her not to do it. They told her, let you get a model to do it. And she took off her makeup and showed her raw face on QBC with the rosacea.
Right.
And today, L'Oreal has bought her line of makeup for $1.2 billion.
Yeah, that's how it is.
And that's how it is.
Yeah.
You cannot give up. And my thing was, I need this for my generation.
Well, boy, I better stay close to you here.
Oh, I need this woman. It was like a passion. I saw myself as a woman going through so many challenges in my life, especially intellectual property and my personal life. And sometimes I felt like I was nothing. So I decided I cannot give up. 2018, the World Intellectual Property wrote Trinidad and Tobago and wrote the world, WIPO, because they were celebrating women in invention and innovation.
And you got a blind there.
Man,
Yeah,
I did that 2 minutes video.
Yeah.
And I was one of the 10 women from around the world that was featured in the world.
Another congratulations there, Rhona. Another congratulations.
And by doing that, I had to do so much research
Yeah.
and learned that there are only 13% of women. They are all in the invention world. There are only 13% of inventors that are women.
Right.
That inspired me up
Yeah.
to go the next step.
Well, boy, I will tell you this, Rhona. I mean, today I told the viewers and the listeners that they're in for a treat. But I didn't even realize that it would be so much a treat for me too. This was like so much to unpack, so much to, imbibe here. I mean, this is just amazing. And I think the parting message here for me that I hope everybody gets it is really, Martin Luther says, if you can run, run. If you can walk, walk. If you can crawl, crawl. But by God, don't stop moving.
Yes,
you've got to keep going. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And by any means, And I really love the idea that you've been able to overcome so many of these hurdles that you've faced, personal, spiritual, in every way possible, but you've been able to kind of sit on that foundation of your spirituality. And really, this invention, take it from me, we're going to hear much more about this on the world stage. I can feel it. And boy, when you hear they come, still praise the Lord, that when you hear they come and things look very not, it can, because this whole thing can change your whole life.
Yes, it can.
And I can see it happening. I really, for TobagoConnect, we try to kind of really deal with kind of showcasing our people, right? And really giving them a whole blast and a whole kind of, view to our viewers, And I'm really, really appreciative of you coming here today. And I'm really appreciative of us having this discussion. This was really, 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 really powerful. I don't know, you have any closing comments?
All right, what I want to say is about intellectual property. I have a passion for intellectual property. I talk about it all the time. I don't know if you remember that Music TT under you all. I have already also done a video for
I know,
WIPO.
we did that. Yes.
That's with respect for IP.
Yes, I remember that.
So I was passionate to do that because I believe in intellectual property and its rights. I think it's our saving grace, especially in Trinidad and Tobago. I want us to embrace it because that's our selling point. That's our power.
Yeah, that's the new money.
It away.
Yeah, that's the money.
That's the new money around the world.
That's the new money.
So my passion is to encourage people in intellectual property rights and creativity, invention, and innovation. I will be partnering. I already start partnering with intellectual property office in Trinidad to go into schools and the community. We visit a few schools in Trinidad. I've been to a few communities in Trinidad and Tobago to speak about the direction and to motivate others that they can do it. This year theme for World Intellectual Property Day is Youth in Invention and Innovation. So I hope to God by September we can be up and running into the schools. I hope education is listening. I hope education in Tobago. I spoke to Mr. Fali already, the chief sec. He said send the proposal. Trinidad says send the proposal. So we are now organizing the proposal for me to go to Trinidad, go into the schools, motivate the young people to be creative, because it's not only about invention, it's about art.
No, but
it's about copyright.
Yeah, but the creatives are here, The problem is that, you see, like you said it, you had it for 9 years, right? Sitting, right? A lot of the creatives, there's nothing to move them beyond that that stage of when I know of writers, I know of people who can create songs, but we've got to have another level of education. And I'm glad to hear that you're doing what you're doing by talking about going into the schools and motivate, educate, all right? And you know, I talk about this thing about nudging. Yeah, boy. Some of this nudging is really nudging, you know. You gotta constantly nudge, push. It's irritating when you nudge. You know, if I nudge you all the time. But at least what it does, it makes you want to, well, just try it. Just do it, you know?
Sweet.
So I'm really, really glad of having you today. And let me just say congratulations on all your achievements. And I am going to be paying particular attention to what happens to you
Next.
moving forward, because this is really great information. And folks, today we had Rhona Eastman Jack. I'm calling it slowly so you get it. Rhona Eastman Jack, right? Inventor, creator, and as I said, she has had it all with this ruler called the Be Dazzled fashion ruler. And let me put this again to you. Please try and follow the work of this lady online. All right? Be Dazzled fashion ruler. And what's your phone number in case people want to get on?
My number is 391. Well,
391.
It's gonna be
868.
391 5004.
Oh, that's easy.
391 5004.
Right. So you got that. 391 5004. Rhona, thanks for being here. All right.
I love it.
And I'm really telling you, this has been a really, really, really good evening. And folks, do enjoy the rest of the evening, and looking forward to seeing you next week on TobagoConnect. I'm JQ, and with me in the studio, of course, is the big man himself, Josh. All right. Bye-bye. See you next week.
Bye to everyone. And thank you all for listening.